Penguin Random House Audio presents The Challenger Sale, Taking Control of the Customer Conversation. Written and read by Matthew Dixon and Brent Adamson.
Introduction. A surprising look into the future. In the unforgettable early months of 2009, as the bottom fell out of the global economy, business-to-business sales leaders around the world faced an epic problem and an even deeper mystery. Customers had vanished overnight. Commerce had ground to a halt. Credit was scarce and cash was even scarcer. For anyone in business, times were tough. But for heads of sales, they were an absolute nightmare. Imagine having to get up every morning, rally your troops, and send them into a battle they couldn't possibly win, to find business where none could be found. True sales has always been about the good fight, about winning business, often in the face of strong resistance. But this was different. It's one thing to sell to a reluctant, even nervous customer. It's another thing altogether to sell to no one at all. And that's where we were in early 2009. Yet, therein lay the mystery. Staring directly into the teeth of the toughest sales environment in decades, if not ever, a small but uniquely gifted number of sales reps were selling. In fact, they were selling a lot. While others struggled to close even the smallest of deals, these individuals were bringing in the kind of business most reps could only dream of even in an up economy. Were they lucky? Were they just born with it? And most important, how could you possibly capture that magic, bottle it, and export it to everyone else? For many companies, their very survival depended on the answer. It was into this environment that the Sales Executive Council, or SEC, a program within the Corporate Executive Board, launched what has become one of the most important studies of sales rep productivity in decades. Tasked by our members, heads of sales from the world's largest and best-known companies, we set out to identify what exactly set this very special group of sales reps apart. And having now studied that question intensively for the better part of 4 years, spanning dozens of companies and thousands of sales reps, we have discovered 3 core insights that have fundamentally rewritten the sales playbook and led B2B sales executives all over the world to think very differently about how they sell. The first insight was something we weren't even originally looking for. It turns out that just about every B2B sales rep in the world falls into one of 5 distinct profiles, a set of specific skills and behaviors that define his or her primary mode of interacting with customers. Now, that's interesting in and of itself, as you'll be able to find yourself and your colleagues in these profiles when you see them. These 5 profiles prove to be an incredibly practical way of dividing the world into a manageable set of alternative sales techniques. That said, it's really the second insight that changes everything. When you take those 5 profiles and compare them with actual sales performance, you find there's a very clear winner and a very clear loser. One of them spectacularly outperforms the other 4, while one of them falls dramatically behind. Yet there's something very disturbing about these results. When we show them to sales leaders, we hear the same thing again and again. These leaders find the results deeply troubling because they've placed by far their biggest bet on the profile least likely to win. This one insight has shattered the way many sales leaders think about the kind of reps they need to survive and thrive in a tough economy. And that brings us to the third and final core insight of this work, arguably the most explosive of them all. As we dug deeper into the data, we found something even more surprising. While we'd set out 4 years ago to find the winning recipe for sales rep success in a down economy, all of the data indicates something far more important. The profile most likely to win isn't winning because of the down economy, but irrespective of it. These reps are winning because they've mastered the complex sale, not because they've mastered a complex economy. In other words, when we unlocked the mystery of high performance in the down economy, the story turned out to be much bigger than anyone had anticipated. Your very best sales reps, the ones who carried you through the downturn, aren't just the heroes of today, but are also the heroes of tomorrow, as they are by far better able to drive sales and deliver customer value in any kind of economic environment. What we ultimately found is a dramatically improved recipe for a successful solution sales rep. We call these winning reps challengers. And this is their story. Chapter 1. The Evolving Journey of Solution Selling. In early 2009, the team at the Sales Executive Council set out to answer the most pressing question on the minds of sales leaders at the time. How can we sell our way through the worst economy in decades? It was a question naturally accompanied not only by urgent concern, even fear, but also by a sense of real mystery. In a world where B2B selling had ground to nearly a complete halt, sales executives were surprised to find a handful of reps still bringing in business typical of the best times, not the worst. But what were they doing differently? How were these reps still selling well when virtually no one else was selling at all? In studying this question in significant depth, we discovered something surprising. What set these best reps apart wasn't so much their ability to succeed in a down economy, but their ability to succeed in a complex sales model, one that places a huge burden on both reps and customers to think and behave differently. That model is often referred to as solution selling, or a solutions approach, or simply solutions, and has come to dominate sales and marketing strategy across the last 10 to 20 years. The story we found in our research, however, told us something very important about the world of solution selling. It's evolving dramatically. As suppliers seek to sell ever bigger, more complex, disruptive, and expensive solutions, B2B customers are naturally buying with greater care and reluctance than ever before, dramatically rewriting the purchasing playbook in the process. As a result, traditional time-tested sales techniques no longer work the way they used to. Core performing reps struggle mightily in all but the most straightforward of sales, leaving an alarming number of half-completed deals in their wake as they attempt to adapt to changing customer demands and evolving buying behaviors. From this perspective, the down economy that so troubled senior sales executives when we first launched this work proved to be a red herring. The downturn exacerbated the widening gap between core and star-performing reps, but it didn't cause it. In fact, the story laid out here isn't about the economy at all. It's about the evolving world of solution selling and the skills necessary to drive commercial success across the foreseeable future, irrespective of economic conditions. As the world of solution selling continues to change, Sales Executive Council research clearly indicates that a specific set of sales rep skills has emerged as significantly more likely to drive commercial results than those emphasized in either traditional product selling or early solution selling. To understand why those skills matter so much, it's helpful to first examine the evolution of the sales model itself. The path to solution selling. Solution selling comes in many flavors, but generally describes the migration from a focus on transactional sales of individual products, usually based on price or volume, to a focus on broad-based consultative sales of bundles of products and services. The key to its success is the creation of bundled offerings that not only meet broader customer needs in a unique and valuable way, but also that competitors can't easily replicate. The best solutions, therefore, are not just unique, but sustainably so, allowing a supplier to address customer challenges in either new or more economical ways relative to the competition. Why does that matter? Solution selling is largely driven by suppliers' attempts to escape dramatically increasing commoditization pressure as individual products and services become less differentiated over time. Because it is harder for a competitor to offer the full spectrum of capabilities comprising a well-designed solution bundle, it's much easier to protect premium pricing in a solution sale than in a traditional product sale. Not surprisingly, the approach has become widely popular across business-to-business sales for that reason. In fact, to get a sense for how widespread solution selling has become, in a recent SEC survey, we asked sales leaders to characterize their primary sales strategy across a multi-step continuum from traditional product sales on the one end to full-on customized solution selling on the other. The result? Fully 3/4 of respondents reported aspirations to be some kind of solutions provider to a majority of their customers. Essentially, some flavor of solution selling has become the dominant sales strategy across almost every industry. We don't dispute the value of this long-term migration to solution selling, particularly as a way to escape relentless commoditization pressure. But the strategy nonetheless brings with it a number of real challenges. Chief among them are two challenges that explain how and why the solutions model has necessarily evolved over time. The first is the burden that solutions places on the customer. The second is the burden it places on the rep. The customer burden of solutions. By definition, a shift to solution selling results in customers expecting you to actually solve a real problem and not just supply a reliable product. And that's hard to do. It requires that you not only understand the customer's underlying problems or challenges as well, if not better, than they do themselves, but also that you can identify new and better means of addressing those challenges, articulate clear benefits from using limited resources to solve that problem versus competing ones, and determine the right metrics to measure success.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?